felt interesting in a way. I don't know how to describe how it made me feel when I was watching the movie and why that matters, but I thought the cinematography was great.
It's not as creepy as it was in the beginning before you knew it. No, it's still fucking creepy. It's still a problem. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Mission Movie Reviews, Real Talk. I'm Barry Gaines.
I'm your homie, Jay Greene.
And today we are going to talk about the new film, Backrooms.
Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive in there.
I'm not saying I don't believe you. I don't understand. What is this?
It's beautiful. Am I right?
Hello?
Directed by Kane Parsons. Now, from what we know, Kane Parsons actually had this on YouTube. He's like a YouTube influencer, and they actually made a film out of his idea. A24 was like, "Yo, that's pretty good. Come here," and he had a good run. I personally haven't seen it. So I don't know too much about like his YouTube videos, about this Backrooms. But hey, you know what? Had enough people to like it for A24 to come and say, yo, let's do this movie. So it's really cool to kind of see influencers or just creators themselves go online and make what they want to make with nobody in between, get their art out there. And then people noticing it. And then Hollywood coming and saying, hey, listen, let's do it, That's just Hollywood being lazy. You see what's going on, right? Just like the music business. They just wait for you to you do all the work and they just scoop you up. Yeah. But that's in the whole.
They're like, if you're not going to let us use AI, I guess we'll just have to just mine YouTube and figure out what we can find.
Just mine it out. Exactly. It's coming. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. So, so this is by Kane Parsons, like I just said. And it was starring Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renee Rensby. First of all, the acting is brilliant in this movie. I think the idea is very, very original, Before I get into it, Jay, what did you think about this movie?
Oh. Yeah, so this was a movie that I was definitely looking forward to when I saw the trailer because it's new, it's original, sounds interesting. Kane Parsons coming from the YouTube space. I had no idea what it was, right? I never saw the original series or anything like that. Evidently, the original series was kind of his creation, but other people put their 2 cents into it over time. So a lot of different things going into it. And then, here we go with this movie. So I'm like, I'm really interested to see what's going on. As I'm watching it, I'm intrigued the entire time. It's very interesting. The acting is top notch. The look was very interesting. I didn't mention it in my review. At night when I do my reviews, sometimes I'll be forgetting stuff. So that's why the conversation is fun. So the look was very interesting. It had kind of like a very polished look to it when you're seeing like the outside world. And if you imagine, doing everything on a budget and trying to keep everything as clean as you can, you would imagine that might be what it looked like on the YouTube shorts. I have no idea. But the look was very polished, which kind of like felt interesting in a way. I don't know how to describe how it made me feel when I was watching the movie and why that matters, but I thought the cinematography was great. When you go into the space where these backrooms are, and it's very like VHS found footage, a combination of that was intriguing. So you get different textures and vibes throughout the film. So I thought that was dope. The ideas and the concepts and things like that for sure went over my head. Right? The subliminal messaging and things of that nature, the symbolism that went over my head was great, even though I didn't understand what that was all about, but I can feel something was there and this dude is trying to say something, right? And I thought that was pretty fly. The interactions between Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renee were also great. She's dealing with some stuff, he's dealing with some stuff. So between what they're both dealing with and how that has a meaning and an impact on the overall story and what the messaging of the film is, I thought that was dope. Again, things that I missed, but things that I also saw. So I thought all that was dope, and the effort and the execution was fly. When we get into the what's down there, what's really going on, why is this place creepy and sinister and all that, that was really, really good. I feel like this dude did a great job at setting up some mystery, some intrigue, then giving you some of that suspense, building that tension, and then when shit really needs to happen, it happens and it's worth it. Again, we're not talking about like a gory bloodbath type of thing, but we're talking about slow, methodical, takes its time, and that was really, really creepy because when we can't spoil it, but when Ish really jumps off, when it comes to its conclusion, I'm on the edge of my seat, like what's really going on here? And then when the situation plays out, I'm like, oh, kind of want to back up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then when it ends, it has like an ambiguous ending of sorts, but a really kind of chilling ending that you kind of think about, like, fuck, like that was really good. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a movie that you're going to be thinking about. But I did say in my review that for some people, if you are not interested in like a very slow burn, something that's really making you think and doesn't give you all the answers up top on surface, it might be a little bit of a letdown for you. But if you're someone who likes to think more and more about something, talk more about it, learn more about what it might have meant later on, then this is going to be right up your alley for sure.
Yeah, you know, I have to, I agree on that. One thing to talk about what you're saying, I think people are going to like it no matter, even if it's a slow burn. But you know what? I didn't feel it was like a slow burn. Like at first, the movie itself to me felt very lonely, which I love. Like they set the stage up that you have Chiwetel Ejiofor's character alone. You pretty much have Renee Rensby's character alone. They have no friends, really. Ejiofor has employees, but he's really alone. Those guys have their own life. So everything that was going through each shot, each scene, each environment, everything was just alone. So even when he started to go into the back rooms and find it and say, what the hey, he's like, okay. And now you felt almost more alone. You're like, what's going on here? The premise to me was outstanding. This is what we're talking about, like original ideas that we needed for a long time, that we just wanted for a long time. And this is one of these movies. And one thing is, I noticed in the film that everything, and maybe I'm quite sure this is a directorial decision. It's like an Easter egg. Everything is squared off. There's no roundness to things. Everything has a point to it to make everything feel like you're always in a box. You go into the office, everything's box. Couches, box. Everything is a box. And I think that's the whole point of it. Like you always feel like you're always in this kind of box that never ends. And of course, the back rooms, like you said, just to go back to what you're saying, when you go in there, the creepiness is outstanding. And them using the whole VHS POV shot that you've seen so many times in the past, and people try to do a whole movie on it, and eventually this starts to get old. It's like an old way of kind of making things creepy. But this one worked because it was just a moment in the movie that way, and the way they did it, man, that was the creepiest thing. And one great thing too about this, another great thing I should say about this, is that when you find out what's happening, it's still creepy. Like some movies, when you find out what's happening, it's almost like, okay, now we know what's going on, and we're just going to look at the rest of it. It's not as creepy as it was in the beginning before you knew it. No, it's still fucking creepy. It's still a problem. Like it never lets you out. It just keeps gripping you. Like, although you may know some of it that's going on, you still are trying to freaking figure out what's happening. And I agree with you. And some things did go over my head. I wasn't sure what things meant. And I'm like, damn, that's good. Damn, that's good. And what really stood out to me was another thing that stood out to me was the music. Now, the music to me, when you listen to the music, people, when you watch the movie, listen to the score, say the first 20, 25 minutes, probably the rest of it too, outstanding. But that score had notes that were bending out of place, out of key, purposely to make you feel that things are just not, everything's out of key. Everything's off. Everything may look squared up and everything is kind of like sharp and clean, but you don't know everything was off. And like you said, the palette of this yellow, it was that old yellow, but it wasn't annoying. It was just there. You had, had the walls had some, some stuff on it, but it was just like there. And you're right. sometimes you're just looking at the whole way, not paying no mind to the yellow as much. And so it did. I mean, it did a absolutely great job. So I really enjoy it. So anyone out there, go ahead and give it a shot. Watch it.
The other thing that I want to mention is like, and again, I didn't address it too much in my review, is like, I'm from San Jose, California, right? So when I have no idea where Kane Parsons is from, is he from the Bay Area? I would almost have to imagine that he is. I didn't do the research, but when they say like this place, the area is like Capitol McKee, I'm like, oh fuck, like I know that area. Like I grew up in that area. So like, oh wow, the furniture. When you think of like it takes place in 1990, so the type of yellow it is, the way the furniture store looks, you know what I'm saying? The way, like I said, the aesthetic of outside of the buildings and things like that. And then knowing the development that has gone on in the Bay Area, and there's a 85 freeway that goes by the airport. And I remember there was a huge thing for a while about like them kicking people out of their homes and just like, you know, figuring out any way possible to move these people out who have a right to be there. These are their homes, but development has to be what development is, right? And so there's symbolism like that in the movie. So that's why I'm like, yo, I'm like gripped. I'm like on the edge of my seat. Like, what does all this really mean? You know what I'm saying? And so for all these explainer videos that will eventually come out, I'm looking forward to watching those. Without spoiling anything, toward the end, when there's a specific encounter and he's doing something, he's talking to the therapist in a certain way that he talks to her like up top in the beginning of the movie. And if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. I'm driving home and I'm thinking like, hey, wait, this, that, and the other thing, and I'm trying to start to piece together these connections. So like I say, this is going to be the type of movie where you're going to start to pull things out of it every single time that you watch it. When you go back and be like, wait, did that mean this? So when you're talking about being in a box, I didn't make that correlation, but it's like, it's true. It's like a lot of the things that they might be speaking to is like, you stay in this box because you believe that's where you need to be. And that was one of the issues. Well, I can assume that's one of the issues that the character was going through with one of his big problems was that I'm here because A, B, and C, you know what I'm saying? And so, man, and for this guy, Kane Parsons is like, what, 20 years old? Like,
he's young, man. He's really young.
Years old, to be talking about all these different topics and putting them in there. I was also saying to one of my clients, you know, should be seeing the movies that we talk about, and I was telling her, I was like, Power of the Dog was Benedict Cumberbatch in that? I can't remember.
I don't remember. No,
but that movie was like a lot of people were like all over that movie. I did not like that movie. The Banshees of Ed Sheeran. I did not like that movie. I can respect the cinematography, the direction, the acting, all great, but those movies just did not work for me, right? But they had deep symbolism, stuff like that was like going over my head. I'm like, that's what that meant? That's what this meant? With this movie, it's different. Movies hit everybody differently. So with this movie, it has that really deep-rooted messaging and symbolism and all of that, but it also gives you enough on the top to be entertained throughout. So even if you don't catch those things, you'll probably enjoy this movie. You'll probably like it. And then later on, when you do catch it, you'll be like, oh, snap. And you'll see it in a whole different light. And that is, to me, mastery of storytelling. When you can do that, when you can make something that's like, I don't know what I just watched. But then the next time you're like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. And now you're like, wow, that was great. That's freaking mastery right there.
And when you think about it, you're right, bro.
Do this at 20? Like, damn.
20? I mean, being
That's
young,
crazy.
And it's funny you say that too. He's 20 because when you think about the subject matter, it's a very adult subject matter. This is not a kid subject matter. Like the whole premise of, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, both of their characters, right, have like adult issues going down. But then I was looking a little further, right, and I'm looking at this, right. So it says the writers. This is what they have credited. The writers is of course Kane Parsons, but also Will Sudik, and Will Sudik did the he wrote, give me a sec here, he wrote Homeland, Borgia that I didn't see, Ash versus Evil Dead, Westworld. Ash versus Evil Dead and Homeland and Westworld, loved them. But then I'm like, okay, that is why you have that nice rhythm, that nice pace, that great character development, straight to it. Nothing lingers too much. They get right to it and get to the next subject matter. He always did that in his writing, going by these films that he did, and these series he did, especially like Ash versus Evil Dead, which I loved. It was just really good pace. So I'm like, okay, so are they doing this to Will Sudik? Because also, did you know that not Will Sudik, Kane Parsons, he also did the score. He did the score with another guy named Ido Van Bremen. Ido Van Bremen did a bunch of Hollywood films. So they looking at this kid the same way Hollywood looks at certain actors and say, you know what? I think you can be a star. But first, let's put you around some established actors, some established creators, and then see how we can work this and see what people say. Start learning from the veterans. And I'm looking at this like, I think they're doing the same thing they do to actors to this Kane Parsons kid. Because everyone around him are veterans. So they say, okay, kid, you know what? You got a good idea. Let's work on that. I'm going to give you the cake of it. Something that really is going to give it balance right now. Okay. You got a lot of frosting on your stuff, which is great. Some cake. I'm going to give you some more balance. And I think that's what's hurt. And he's learning from that. So when you see this assistance with him, now, he directed it, yes, but who knows what's behind it? He gets all the directing qualities. But when you look at that, I'm like, you start seeing similarities. So, yeah, man, this kid, I think we're going to hear much more about him. And just to lean on what you're saying, too, about him just being 20 years old, like a freaking child, like, yo, bro.
And also the other thing, too, is like now, like when you mention that, it's interesting because you have people, and I'm obviously not in that space, right? But you have people that like, they say, hey, I want to do this. I'm going to go to school for that specifically. You dig? But when you're looking at like on the job experience is invaluable. You can go to school for one thing. That's cool. You get out of school. I'm a personal trainer. If I just got my training cert, or I went to school and I stepped onto the field, I only know what I knew in the books. I have no idea how to deal with a client that is not going to listen to me. Or finish one thing, I got to change their mindset and flip it to a different direction, right? So when you take someone from the YouTube space, usually they're doing everything. They're either doing the writing, the shot list, the direction, the sound, the sound design, the score. They're doing the color grading. So if you have someone who's very talented and then they have a great idea and a concept and you want to take that great idea concept and mine it, and then you give them some encouragement and some knowledge from some other veterans in the game just to hone in, like you're saying, you have someone who's pretty much ready for the league. You got like a Kobe Bryant, straight out of high school. Let's go. Yeah. We don't need that uptick. We're right here. We're ready. Boom. There you go. And look at what we got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, exactly. You see this.
And
you know what?
This
is good. Yeah. I got
and I gave love to like in my review. I gave love to like David F. Sandberg, who did like the Lights Out short that was like the blew up, and then he got the movie Lights Out. Then he did the first Shazam. He did Annabelle Creation. That was dope. You got the Philippou brothers that did Talk to Me.
Oh yeah, right. Philippou, yeah,
and then you had Markiplier that just did Iron Lung. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then,
that's right.
And I'm sure there's a couple others that we're missing, but you take those dudes primarily from the YouTube space. Look at Chris Stuckman, right? Primarily from the YouTube space, and they're making really, really good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's true. And you know what? And it's self-sufficient. I mean, that's the, and that's the name of the game. Like you're just saying, man. Yeah, these guys already do everything. And I think I'm a big proponent of that myself. Do as much as you can. I come from the school of Robert Rodriguez, the director, did everything. He said, do as much as you can, because eventually when you do have to delegate these other jobs, at least you be familiar with it. It's like any position, any job, any business you create. You want to do as much as you can, so when you do start to pay people for it, you know what you're paying them for. You know what I mean? So you get an idea. And I think, and Kane Parsons, looking at him, like for this movie, obviously, just to say what you're saying, like you got these other guys coming from the YouTube space, getting these chances. But Kane is a little different because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure, but correct me if I'm wrong. When I mentioned that these other guys are sitting with him, they credited with him, right? Like you say, he's the number 1 draft pick right now. And he's sitting there with the veterans and they give him schooling. I have not seen that when it came to creators, like directors or producers. You don't see this team up. You either see their name or you see somebody's name in, solo, just them. And then you have yours where it needs to be. but to have people next to you saying, yo, it's us too. Us too. Giving him credit that he sat there with him. He was going along with the ride with the writing, going along with the score. That's big, especially with the score. It's not many people who could actually do score. Music, it's a whole nother beast. You got that too under your belt, bro. Yo, you got it, bro. You're the number one draft pick right now. So yeah. So all in all, the movie, you can see everything that Justin and I was talking about. You see it in this film. It's one of these films that kind of make you exciting because it can go again. Like they can make part 2 of this. It's so much. It's still like you kind of get an idea at the end what's happening, but then you really don't because there's still holes. There are shots that I wasn't sure what those shots really meant. Like I'm really trying to figure this out. Being a filmmaker myself, Justin and I are creators, so we got the creative mind, and we still baffled and shit. Like, okay, what the fuck? Okay, I think so. But that's what's so great, man. You just keep like chomping at it, and there's still something in there, that hasn't been touched yet, and you just keep at it. So yeah, they got something really good here. Kane Parsons, I hope that he just keeps going. Maybe hopefully give us another movie on this, or just see what he's going to do next. So I'm a fan, man. This kid, hey kid, you got a fan, all right? Yeah. You got some fans here, so keep at it.
Also, one last thing I want to say is, if you watched our review from the other week when we're talking about Passenger and how sometimes these like entities, beings, spirits, like whatever you want to call it, like play with people and take their time. In this, because of the nature of like the story and the concepts and everything that this movie was like trying to say and showcasing to us, you never feel that way. So when stuff really does start to jump off and someone's like running from something, it's smooth, it's slow, and you're gripping the edge of your seat the entire time, but it doesn't stop and be like, I'll get you next time. No, it keeps coming until it can't come no more. You know what I mean? And that was like really one of those things. Like when something doesn't stop, that's when it's really the most creepy. So it was a great movie. Great movie.
It is. And just to lean on that, just a little thing, this one more thing is when you said that, remind me of like the movie itself when it does this thing, or things happen in this and you see it coming for you, like you said, it doesn't stop. You think about it like, why didn't this keep going? The place is so big too. I think it was kind of trying to figure things out itself. Yeah. It's kind of like it's so big and it's just kind of moving around. So it doesn't make you feel as if something's just sitting there waiting for you to be in the right spot. Make sure you're on the right where the X marks the spot. You hit right there and that's when it hits you. This thing is just kind of figuring out too. You're getting lost. The thing is getting lost. I mean, so yeah, the whole concept was just really well thought out. And I just hope that we can see more of this. So what do you guys think out there, everyone? Are you going to see Backrooms? Have you seen Backrooms? And if you do see Backrooms, go to the cinema and see it there. Support the cinema. And not just supporting because the movie itself would be creepier. The sound design hits you in the face. The music is just wrapping you up, and bringing you along the ride. So you really want to get that experience with everyone else. So definitely go see it in the theaters. And we'd like to know what you think of Backrooms. Until next time, everyone, peace.